and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be starting my very first costume project of 2024. Very excited. And that project is Arwen's blood red dress from Return of the King. Yay! I actually think it's a crime that I haven't yet made a costume from Lord of the Rings, considering it's my favourite trilogy of all time. I live in New Zealand. I adore all of the costumes, etc, etc. I've just don't know why, never got around to it. But it is the 20th anniversary of Return of the King this year, so no better time like this year. I also have a birthday party I'm attending in 2 weeks' time, and the theme for that is a book character, so why not smash it out in 2 weeks? Like I did with that Marjorie costume, and I told myself I was never going to smash costume out in 2 weeks again. But here we are. Without any further ado, let's jump on into making Arwen's blood red dress from Return of the King in 2 weeks because I'm insane and I must hate myself. Construction. Let's get into it. So I will be using Simplicity 4940 as the base of this, but I will be making some changes. And the changes I'm making are, I'm going to extend the skirt train and have it pull around the feet, I think, if I have enough fabric. And I'm also going to cut the sleeves as full circles, so they won't be gathered at the wrist like they are on the pattern. They'll be nice and full and swishy and dramatic, which is what you want from a Lord of the Rings costume. Onto fabric. For the sleeves, this beautiful red upholstery fabric. It is a velvet, it is nice, it's soft, it's got a beautiful drape, and it doesn't have any stretch in it like all of the fashion fabrics did at the store. Bonus. Because of the amount of velvet that we will be using in this dress, you do not want to use a stretch fabric. It is just going to warp everything and it'll make your life so much harder. Get something that doesn't stretch for this, please. I also got it in blue because, you know, the main dress is blue. So the sleeves and the dress part, the exact same upholstery velvet. Then for the top of the sleeves and around this part of the dress, I have this paisley printed velvet, which honestly a shocking find. I didn't think I was going to find anything close. Sort of freaking out about, oh, what am I going to put in there? It's a paisley and it's a velvet, but that sort of fabric just doesn't exist. Turns out it did, and I'm so happy with this. Also, not a stretch. Shocking. Wow. That's it for fabrics. Onto the trims. Here are the trims. Alrighty, first things first, it was time to cut out the pattern pieces. So I've cut out all the pattern pieces and I've just sort of pinned them to the mannequin to see what sort of shape I'm working with here. First thing I want to do is eliminate this collar bit, because at the moment it looks like the collar sits over top of the dress underneath, whereas in the film it's the other way around. The collar sits underneath and that little bit of dress sits on top, so that shouldn't be too hard to do. The other thing I want to do is extend the length of the skirt, easy peasy, and obviously giant circle sleeves. So I'm just going to cut those out like I would a circle skirt, and then I'll adjust where the circle bit sits, so yeah. You'll see it when I get to it, but yeah. That's it all cut out. I'm wondering if I go straight into the actual dress or make a mock-up first. I should make a mock-up. I don't think I have any fabric here to do that with, so let's see. So I made a mock-up. This side here hasn't been, ow, stab myself with the pin. This side here hasn't been altered yet, and this side has. So what is going on? That's a really good question. So what I've done is, this is the collar piece, and it is now sitting underneath the fabric instead of on top of, and that is giving the perfect shape for everything that goes on underneath the neckline. And then what I've done is the overdress part here, I have actually lowered the neckline at the front here and then drawn in where the paisley bias tape will sit on the front. And then I've also shortened the armhole bit just there, and I'll just mirror that on the back piece as well. This should work, theoretically. This mock-up says that it'll do the job. I also have to extend the train and the hem of it a bit because I'm too tall for the pattern, and as it currently stands my toesies will be showing. That's a really easy job. I'll just extend those when I'm actually cutting the pattern pieces themselves. I've decided I don't want it to train out as dramatically as the one in the film does, because I'm not doing a film with this, I'm just wearing this to a party and maybe to a convention in the future, and that'd just make it incredibly difficult for me to walk around in, so we're gonna nix that a little bit. So yeah, I think I'm just about ready to start cutting into the real fabrics. First I cut out the undercollar pieces out of the paisley fabric. Then I moved on to the blue fabric of the main outer dress, extending the train on the bottom as I go, like I said I would. I also remembered to draw in the altered neckline as I went as well. Here I was testing the length of the train on the first piece that I cut out on the mannequin, just to make sure that my toesies were going to be covered. Then it was on to sewing the outer dress pieces together. I also sewed together the two undercollar pieces as well. So here's how the dress is looking so far. Really happy with how it's coming along, and oh my god, this velvet just feels incredible. But I have encountered an issue, which means there is no back half of the dress, and the reason being is I didn't realise the velvet had a particular pile when I was looking at it in the fabric store. The pile is directional, which means it had to be cut one specific way. I couldn't turn the pattern pieces on the fabric like I wanted to, which means I don't have enough of the fabric, so I'm going to have to go back and get some more, which is bumming me out because I was on such a roll with this today. But anyway, that's tomorrow's problem. I'll see you guys then. It's a new day, and as you can tell from the footage I just played before hitting record just now, we have a back panel. So I went to the store, I got the fabric, let's sew it to the front, and then I can try on the blue part of the dress and we can see how that's looking. And yeah, let's just do it. Elves are not meant to wear flip-flops, I'm telling you. So you know when I said I wasn't going to put a train on the bottom, I lied. I decided it looks so much cooler. Mine's not as dramatic as hers, but it's still there. How do they walk in this? Well, I guess we go figure out the sleeves now. Hello. Welcome to sleeve making time. So I have an idea of what I want to do for this. I'm just not really sure how to achieve it. First things first, I'm going to cut out the upper sleeve out of the paisley because that pattern piece does not need to be altered and it's straightforward. By doing that, that'll give me at least a starting point. Then from there, it's on to making the giant, this part, lower sleeve, cutting it out of a circle. We'll figure it out together. So, I have encountered a problem with the paisley fabric. Once you cut it, it actually gets a little bit of diagonal stretch to it, which is not ideal because we don't want any parts of the dress warping, and with the amount of weight that this thing's going to have to hold up, it needs to keep its shape. So what I've got is actually a whole bunch of leftover fabric from my Padme dress I made last year in a lovely shade of red that matches the red velvet. So I'm going to line both the lower part of the sleeve and the upper sleeve in some of the leftover red fabric so that it can hold its weight. So that's what we're doing now. So my thoughts for cutting out the sleeves was to use this pattern piece you see before you and taking the length of this end and cutting a full circle that is that wide in the half. That makes sense, right? You guys can figure that out? Alright, so I'm just going to cut out how I would cut out a circle skirt, and we're going to go from there and see if that works. Cool, let's go. It's covered in pins, but I'm going to give this a go. I cut the sleeve. I've cut it as a full circle. I cannot decide whether her sleeve is a full circle or half. I do like how full it is, but I'm wondering if it's too full, you know? Oh, okay, I've got to make a decision. I'll see you guys soon. The answer is, we are going to do a half circle because I do not have enough fabric to cut another whole circle, even if I wanted to. So that is that problem solved. Ta-da! We have one sleeve. I think it looks cool. Half a circle with some cool trim. What do we think? Now I'm going to make the other sleeve, and then I have to figure out how to attach them to the dress. But that's a problem for tomorrow because I am done for today. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It is a new day. I have finished the sleeves. So let me run you through some of the features on the sleeves. We have half circle lower bottoms. We have understitching on the inside. We have lining. There is really pretty trim. I am stoked with how the sleeves have turned out. Yesterday I found out when I was having my dilemma with, oh my god, are the sleeves full circles or not? Leia Aurora, you may remember her from my Lucy Gray video, she slid into my DMs and was like, hey, here's this really helpful website where somebody has broken down exactly how to make the costume. And I was like, wow, this is incredible information, thank you so much. And on that website it actually says that the sleeves are half circles, but they're 4.5 meters wide, long, however you want to phrase that. I don't want to make mine that big because it is already heavy enough, so mine are a little less full than the actual ones, but I'm more than happy with how they look. All I've got to do now is the weird undercollar bit and blah, 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 blah. You know? I spent last night thinking about how to do that, and I think I have reached a conclusion. I'm going to make a little crop dress, if you will, to wear underneath the blue dress, which I'll be making from this navy cotton that I found hidden in my stash. The sleeves will actually be attached to the underdress, and then at the top of the neckline of that I'm going to attach the collar bit. Let's give that a go. The first thing I had to do for the undercollar was layer some of that trim along the paisley part of it, and once that was done, I then made the collar. And once the collar was made, I then attached the smaller gold trim along the bottom edge, and I attached both of the trims using an invisible sewing thread. Next, I cut some bias strips out of the paisley fabric, which I would use to decorate the neckline of the over blue dress. I sewed the bias tape along the neckline, and then I used some navy bias tape, which I then sewed over the top of that and rolled that over and hand stitched it along the inside, and that's how I finished all the seams on it. The dress is just about done. I am on the home stretch now. All I have left to do is to build that weird little underdress bib thing that I was describing to you earlier, and sew the sleeves to it. Oh, and this weird little collar bit that sits underneath. But then she's done! Wow. You know, I allocated myself 2 weeks to make this, and it has been 5 days. That's got to be some sort of record for me. Anyway, I'm going to make the bib now, exactly as I made the over part, except I'm not going to be trimming it down like I did to get the nice scoop. It's going to be made exactly as the pattern, sewing the stuff to it, and then the reveal. So there you have it. That is how I made my blood red Arwen dress from Lord of the Rings Return of the King. I am so happy with this costume. I feel so pretty in it, and it's very luxurious. Look at the sleeves. Woo. It's just fun. It's a whole lot of fun. I am really happy with how quickly I was able to put it together. Like I said, I was giving myself 2 weeks to make it, and at the time I thought that was a bit of a stretch, but then I got it made in less than a week, and that's also made me want to like make more Arwen dresses now, knowing how quickly I could actually do them all. Watch this space maybe? One thing I would do differently next time I make this costume though, I have sewn this seam of the sleeve to this edge. See on the outside, but next time I make it I'll put it on the inside because that seems to be where the sleeve actually wants to hang. I didn't know this because I had never made this sort of type of sleeve before, but yeah, that's the only thing I would do differently when making one of these again. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know down below which is your favourite Arwen costume, and there's a chance I might recreate it next. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like down below. If you really liked it, maybe you would consider subscribing as well. I do a lot of sewing, crafting and fun related videos here on this channel, and I usually try and upload every week or so. With all that being said, I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye! Very good.
Oh, the beautiful noises. Beautiful.